there, this is Dania Guth with Dania Guth Foothills Real Estate, and in this video today we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of living in Conifer, Colorado, a place that we have called home for almost 25 years, which seems almost impossible to believe, but sure enough, here we are. And so we're going to be talking about all the great things about living in Conifer and the not so great things. And obviously the fact that I've been here for 25 years means I feel there are more great things, but we'll get into the things that aren't so awesome and amazing, I guess. And so just a little bit about Dania Guth and Foothills Real Estate. I am the marketing person for my wife. She is busy with clients, buyers and sellers, and I do marketing for real estate agents around the country. And so we decided to create a channel that kind of talks about what life is like living here in the area. So there's a bunch of cities that are just a little bit west of Denver called the Foothills. Includes Conifer, of course, Evergreen, Bailey, Pine, Morrison, and then you could also include in them some of the cities that butt up against the what we call the Front Range Mountains, and those are Littleton, Lakewood, Golden, Colorado, all those cities. We're going to be doing videos on all of these and giving you insights and information about what it's like to live here. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because when we moved here, there wasn't that information. We did not have the internet the way it is today to look things up. And as a matter of fact, when Dania got started in real estate almost 20 years ago, we actually created a DVD of the area that we would send out to people that were interested in moving here. And that was received so well that it just makes sense for us to do something like that, using a YouTube channel. So that's kind of the idea behind it and the intent behind it. And so if you're interested in getting more information on the area, if you're thinking about moving into the area, just want to know more about it, go ahead and click on the subscribe button and the like button and the notification button. So all of those will get you notifications whenever there are new videos that we create and post. So, and in any event, back to the pros and the cons of Conifer, Colorado. I'm right now driving into the local Safeway shopping center here that is in Conifer. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit as well. But the biggest pro that I can think of that I believe brought me out here is just quality of life. The quality of life here is, in my opinion, second to none. It's for a lot of reasons, just from a the ability to breathe standpoint. So we moved here from South Florida. I'm just going to park and kind of continue this video while I'm here. We moved here from South Florida, and I grew up in South Florida, and I loved my childhood. I loved living there, and I always had this affinity for the mountains. And so when my wife and I got together, she also had that same feeling and connection to the space that the mountains provide. We went backpacking in the Alps, and we loved the Alps, and we wanted to find that kind of life experience here in the U.S. And we looked around, and this seemed to be the closest that we could find. And once we came out and visited, we knew right away this is where we wanted to live. And so quality of life is the number one pro that I would say is that drew us here, at least, and that draws a lot of other people out here. As I'm looking around at, and I'll do some intersperse some footage of the area here, some drone footage and just some still photos, just to give you more of a sense of what life is like here. But I am literally in the Safeway parking lot right now, and as I look around, there's a mountain range right over here. There's a number of different shops, so you've got the ability to get pretty much anything done. We've got a Staples, we got a number of fast food restaurants that have popped up. There was none 25 years ago, but there are a few here now that could be good or bad. Those could be pros or cons, depending on how you look at it. So quality of life, the ability to breathe. You don't have, depending on where you buy, you can buy a nice sized piece of land and get the space that fits your needs. So we have about 2 acres of land, and that is plenty for us. We just cleared a bunch of brush off of our land, and it feels like a park setting. It really is wonderful. Some people have 35 acres. You can get 35-acre parcels as well. So you can really get that space. But you're also, another pro is that you're really close to Denver. And so Denver obviously is a big city. It's got everything, every box store that you can think of down there. The city life is fantastic. As we're coming out of COVID, you're going to have more ability to do things down there. And the nice thing is that we're really close to being able to get down to Denver in a very convenient fashion. There's one main highway that goes down from Conifer, that's Highway 285. It's a 4-lane road all the way through, and so easy to get down to Denver from our house to The Foothills, where, just down in Littleton area, which we would call, a fairly big city as well, is only about 20 minutes or so. We say 30 minutes to get to anything along there, and then really anything at all that we would go to is within a 45-minute drive. To get to the airport is about an hour, but the airport's way out west, so keep that in mind. So the ability to get to and from places from where we live here in Conifer, very easy. It's another one of the big pros that I would say here. Another pro that we've experienced, and I'm doing some videos on that, is the school system here. Fantastic school system. Our kids really thrived overall. The elementary schools are fantastic. The middle school, as you'll see in the video I do on the middle school, may not, be up to par with the other schools, but it's still a great school. And then the high school. High school is just absolutely fantastic. One of the best in the state, I would say, in terms of preparation for college and education and test scores. So the school system here is another one of the big pros. And there's another pro that we're going to go into that is really also a con that you'll see, and it just makes sense. So another one of the pros that we love is the weather. And it obviously depends on the time of year that we're talking about. The weather in the late spring, summer, and fall, you can't beat it. I mean, in terms of, so again, coming from South Florida, we were just not big fans of the heat and the humidity. Let's put it that way. Some people love it. We did not. And so you will, if that's not your thing and you like colder, crisper, drier climates, then Conifer is possibly for you. The high temperature in the summer is in like the mid 70s. And if it ever gets into the 80s, that's unusually warm, and if I can't remember if it's ever hit 90. It can be 100 down in Denver, and it'll still be like 80 up here. There could be a 20-degree temperature differential between the two areas. And so climate, we just think is fantastic. Now the winters, again, this is where it's a pro and a con. So the pros is you've got all of the winter lifestyle things that you want to do. You've got skiing, you've got snowshoeing, you've got sledding. There's just a lot to do in the wintertime, and it's beautiful, if you enjoy the snow. And the other thing is that it doesn't stick around that long. So, we talk about people that live in the Northeast, and as soon as it snows, October, you don't see the ground again until the spring. And typically that's not the case here. You will have, a big storm that'll come through, and then the next day the sun is out and it's melting it off. And it's just very, very, easy in that sense, in terms of living in snow here as compared to maybe the East Coast or the Midwest, for example. And so that's still a pro. Now let's just jump into the cons while we're on it. So this has been something that's actually happened to Dania, is that people will move here and love it because they come here in the late spring, summer, fall time frame, and then they live through a winter and they're like, wow, this is not what I expected. Or they get into a house that the way it's facing is just miserable, and the snow never melts, and they're dealing with a much more higher degree of clearing snow off that they didn't factor in, and it's just not for them. And so it's not been uncommon for people to move here one year and move away the next, just because they weren't really prepared for what life is like living in these conditions here. So again, it's a pro on some levels, and it's a con on some others. Another con is the altitude. So the altitude here, we're at where we live, 8,700 feet. It's anywhere from 8,000 to up to 10,000 feet above sea level. And so you will, if you come here from sea level, you're going to experience some challenges with the altitude here. And it's just not for everybody. There's no question that walking up and down a flight of stairs here is going to be a little bit different than walking up and down a flight of steps down, or stairs down at sea level. And so the altitude can be an issue for some people. Again, we've been here for a long time. You adjust to it, of course, so it's not that big a deal, but we just want to make sure you know about that it's definitely even different than Denver. Denver's a mile high, which is 5,200 or so. We're another 3,000-4,000 feet above that, depending on where you're at. So you got to factor that in when you're considering a move to Conifer. And so another one of the pros that I would say, we talked about the space and then how much space there is around you, and you're even down in Denver, you come up here and you just, wow, I can breathe. It's just, there's the fresh mountain air, and there's streams and forests, and we've got all kinds of national parks not too far. State park, there's a brand new state park that was created not too far from us, like 10 minutes from our house. And then just lots of county maintained parks, lots and lots of open space for all kinds of activities, hiking, mountain biking, camping, whatever you want to do. So from a pro standpoint, you've got a quality of life and the ability to do whatever you want to do activity-wise. We've got, I guess it's a nationally ranked zip line, not too far from where we live. So lots of great things in terms of, staying active, biking, hiking, mountain biking. You've got whitewater rafting that's not too far away as well. The Arkansas River's not far away. And where we live, by the way, we're close to skiing too. So Highway 285, like I talked about earlier, it runs from Denver all the way out to South Park. Everybody remembers South Park. And then you take another road, I-9, up to Breckenridge. From our house, it is about an hour and 10 minutes for us to get to a world-class ski resort in Breckenridge. If you want to go to Vail, it's also an easy route. You just take I-70. I-70 is a mess, so we try and stay away from it. But if you want to get to those ski resorts, you got to go I-70. There's no other alternative, really. And we're easy access to that. We go through Evergreen, catch I-70, and hit the bigger ski resorts or the other ski resorts, because Breckenridge is huge. But you've got that ability as well. So convenient to get to all of those ski resorts from where we live as well. So another pro. I'm struggling with the cons. There's not a whole lot of cons, obviously, because we lived here so long and love it so much. So give me a second to come back with a con. Okay, so another con. How did I miss this one? I don't know, but it's the cost of living in terms of housing prices right now. So we're right now, it's May 2021, post-COVID, or I'm starting to get on the other side of COVID, and it's been a rocking and crazy real estate market here across the country, really. But this market here is a little bit probably in the top 15% of craziness right now, and that'll obviously shift. Nothing stays in that range or cannot stay in that range forever. Everything that goes up must at least settle down a little bit. And so the price of houses right now is pretty high. And so I think the median house price is over $500,000 now in the area. So you've got to look at that as a factor as well. But it's going to be similar even down in Denver. The pricing for houses down there is also extremely high as well. So, you're just going to have to face that if you're thinking about moving here in the near term. But again, depending on when you watch this video, that may have all settled down and it may not be that big of a deal. But right now, it is. And so, again, that's a con. One of the pros for Conifer in particular is that it's not quite as high as Evergreen. So we're going to do a whole video on Evergreen. But if you're looking, that's what we did. We were looking at a Evergreen property originally, decided to check out Conifer, fell in love with Conifer. Very similar in terms of quality of life, but we got a little bit more house, a little bit more land for our money, so more bang for your buck. So that's back again on the pro side. So I think I've covered all the things that I can think of. If I think of anything else, I'll add them to the back end of this video. I just decided to put this together kind of while dropping my son off at school, which is, in my car I can get quite a bit done. So again, if you want more information on living in the area and some education on, we'll do some more in-depth analysis of the cost of living, like specifically, so you get more numbers around it in some other videos. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell notification to get notified when we do new and more diverse videos on the area. Thanks for watching.